Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you've never been here, my name is UPenn and I am a college student at University of Pennsylvania, which is an Ivy League, but people commonly mistake us for Penn State. Anyways, that's just like a UPenn thing that we have here. Besides the point. So diving right into today's topic, I wanted to talk about some of my personal experiences here at Penn. Also being a student athlete, I have some little insights that I wanted to share with you, regardless of if you're a high school student, maybe you're a senior and you're applying to schools, maybe you've just gotten accepted into an Ivy League, congratulations. And although I'm talking about the Ivy League today, this can apply to any elite schools, Georgetown, UCLA, Berkeley, Stanford, you know the drill. So all of those schools pretty much share the same traits. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of personal experience and let's just get right into it. I will put timestamps in the description below so that if there's like a specific question that you're looking for, you'll be able to just navigate to there and you don't have to listen to my background story if you don't want to. But I will start with my background. I grew up in San Diego, California. I started playing golf, which is actually the sport I was recruited to Penn for. I started playing golf around 12 years ago, and I never really got serious about it until I was about 12 years old. So that's roughly 9 years ago. And once I got serious about it, my mom looked into how you can actually leverage a sport to get into college. This is when I was like in 6th grade or 7th grade, by the way. So at that point, I'd already had sort of this like track to go to an elite school through Division I recruiting. I kind of tailored my experience to that. I played a lot of national golf tournaments and got my name out there, got my ranking. Like I was nationally ranked pretty high, not like super duper high. I was not like top 5 in the world or anything like that, but I was high enough to be considered for Ivy League schools because they're looking for students that are excelling both academically and athletically. It's a little more advantageous for students who have a little bit of both. And if you're only good at one or the other, then chances are, if you're only good at academics, then you're probably going to go to a school just with that. And if you're only good at athletics, then you might go to a state school or like a Division I school that's more focused on athletics. The Ivy League is not huge on athletics. It's there, but it's not that big. We call ourselves Division I and we do compete with other Division I schools, but it's not, we're not UCLA, we're not USC, we're not Stanford. Fast forward to the summer before senior year of high school, I got recruited to play for Penn. I was also contacting other Ivy League schools as well as some liberal arts colleges. Those are mainly Division III. Liberal arts colleges were mainly a safety school for me, and I don't want to come off as obnoxious or like overconfident in myself. It was just the situation at the time. Like I knew my test scores, I knew my GPA, and given my results, I was dreaming big. I was shooting for the stars. And so I get recruited to play for Penn, and even at that point, I really didn't know much about the school, and a lot of people do research on schools before they apply there, but because of my case being a little different from regular applicants, I didn't know that much about the school. I only actually had one choice, and it was to go into the College of Arts and Sciences. Long story short, only 2 people get recruited each year, and the first person to get recruited goes to the business school. The second person to get recruited goes to College of Arts and Sciences. So I was the second person to get recruited, and therefore I had no choice but to go to Arts and Sciences. I didn't even have a shot at the business school. So in the fall of 2016, I came to Penn as a freshman and I started playing for the golf team and, making new friends. And no one from my school in my year particularly came to Penn, so I was the only student. There were a lot of Ivy League admissions from my high school, but no one chose Penn, so it was just me. And at first it felt kind of lonely, but the other girl who was recruited for the team was actually one of my friends from San Diego. So it was actually great that we both were recruited to play for Penn, and I knew someone there at least. That's it for a very brief background story. I cut out a lot of the details, but that's just like the skeletal part of it. So moving on to some of the things I picked up almost immediately once I stepped foot into Penn was that I considered myself kind of introverted throughout high school. Honestly, since childhood, I've always been kind of introverted and shy, and Penn is not an environment that rewards introverts or shy people in general. You have to be extroverted, you have to be, seeking and willing and reaching out to people. And those are the people who are most rewarded for their actions. And I know that's true in greater society in general, but wow, unless you're an alpha male or an alpha female, you're not gonna survive. Penn is like one of those snaky schools where the business school is so predominant that it kind of sucks the blood dry of all the schools that are not the business school. A lot of people want to go into finance, into accounting, research, business, analytics, investment banking, venture, private equity, all of that. So very money focused. A lot of these students came here for a reason, and that's to make a lot of money. And I totally respect that. I think that's a great goal. Tuition here is very expensive. To be able to pay that off, you need a lot of money. It sounds harsh when I say it like this, but it's true. Unless you're the type of person who is comfortable with stepping on others and kind of getting your way each time, you're not really going to thrive in the business school, at least. And even if you're not in the business school, you can get very easily swept away. A lot of people that I know have come in with majors that are in arts and sciences and have tried to transfer into the business school because you just get swept away by that vibe. That's the only field that is reputable at Penn, is finance and anything in New York City, Wall Street and all that. If you're the type to value humility and being humble and not overselling yourself, then chances are you're not going to get those big company corporate jobs. That's just the fact, and that's something that I've had to learn and deal with, and something I'm currently going through in the midst of my job search. The second assumption that I had coming into Penn was that because it is this great school with great professors, the quality of learning is going to be greater than at any other schools, any other state schools, or any other colleges in general. And as much as I feel bad for saying this, I don't know exactly if the quality of education is as great as it is marketed. Personally, this is all personal experience, by the way. Some extrovert on YouTube could be like, I love Penn and I love the environment here, I love people. That's fine, but I'm just not like that. So this is my opinion, is that the quality of education is totally dependent on what you seek out. And the value of an Ivy League school is not necessarily the education you get, but the people you meet in the process. It's the amount of networking you can do, and it's the professors and the mentors, the career advisors. Those are the people who are valuable in Penn. Those are the resources that you want to take advantage of during your time here. It's not really the courses you take. It's not really the textbooks you read. I mean, half the textbooks are written by the professors who are teaching them. I think that if you're really driven and you are very people-oriented, super social, and you love meeting new people, then an Ivy League school is great for you. And that would be a perfect fit because you meet a lot of new people and you have the opportunity to do that. But if you're shy and you're timid and you don't really like reaching out to new, unfamiliar people, then you might want to first start developing those skills and maybe expose yourself to those situations more so that you're more suitable for an environment that is highly competitive. The third assumption that I had coming to an Ivy League, and this is just partly due to me being naive and being too young to know this, but I assumed that once you go to an Ivy League, once I go to Penn, that everything was going to be great, that I was going to land a job, and that the resources would take care of this. And boy, was I wrong. This is very false. Once you come into college, this is just the beginning. It gets hyper competitive after this. You have to do so much. You have to go to workshops, career fairs, you have to network, you have to meet people, you have to do internships, and you have to send 1,000 resumes and probably get rejected by 900 of them and be okay with that. So you have to be able to deal with rejection constantly. The point I want to make is that I don't think people should fantasize about the Ivy League as some gateway to success and that everything will be a smooth path from here. It is merely just a stepping stone to getting that dream job that you want and providing you with the resources that you can use. But the resources still require you to reach out and partake in a bunch of events. Even if you were really smart and you did a lot of extracurricular activities in high school, you're going to realize that Ivy League schools are a host to everyone who has done that. And you're going to feel a little insecure at first, and that's okay. Everyone goes through that process, but it might lead you to taking sort of a mental hit, and you need to be prepared to not be all that special. And some people thrive on that kind of motivation. Some people find that as like a driving factor to achieve more and try harder. And some people get very mentally insane from that and take a huge hit. And I took kind of a big hit my freshman year, not so much because I thought that I was special and I knew that I wasn't, but more because I realized that people were quite selfish or like self-motivated here. I have more of an empathetic and altruistic personality, so seeing a lot of my peers be egocentric was difficult for me to swallow at first. Now I've gotten used to it. I just kind of stay away from people like that, and I just surround myself with people who I'm comfortable with. Lastly, tuition. So tuition has been getting higher and higher at Ivy Leagues, and I'm very fortunate to receive financial aid for my stay here, but it is still very expensive. If you are willing to invest that money into your future and possibly land a job that is going to pay you more than a job that you might get out of a community college or out of not getting a degree at all, I think that your family has to be financially somewhat sound if you want to apply for an Ivy League. And I think a lot of kids and students these days are very aware of their family's financial situation. Again, personal experience, but if your family is at the very top percentile in terms of income, then you're going to be totally fine. The tuition of 70, 75K is not going to mean much to you, and your family can totally afford it. If your family is at the very low end of the spectrum, you know, I would say probably earning less than like 20K a year, then you're probably going to receive a lot of financial aid, so you would be fine. I think if you're in the middle ground where your family's making, you know, like 100K a year, then that's where it gets a little bit more difficult, because you're going to receive some financial aid, but some not, and it's still difficult to pay for college. You're probably going to have to take student loans, and it's going to be quite difficult. So be prepared to pay a huge sum of money, and if you don't go to class one day, just divide the tuition and the housing and all of that and figure out how much it costs for one class. For me, I think it's like close to $400 per class, and therefore I try not to miss classes, and when I do, I shed a single tear. These are just my personal experiences. Some people might have a great experience. I totally get that, and some of my friends just love it here. And this was their dream school, and I get it. But I think for some people it's going to be an eye-opener, and that's great. You know, college is supposed to be a time for you to figure yourself out, and it doesn't have to be that you're just learning a lot of material. You can do that online anywhere these days, but it's the connections you make that's important. It's the people you meet that's important. My advice to incoming freshmen is that you should do your research on the school before you come. If you know someone that is a student at the school you're going to attend, then I would say reach out to them, maybe ask for some advice upon getting to campus, and maybe just look at some of the resources available on the university website. You can see some of the career workshops, maybe clubs, different sports if you want to join like a club sports team. Let's see, interviewing workshops. They do like resume review for a lot of the Ivy Leagues. So those are some things I would check out, and definitely connect with past alumni as well, so that you could kind of see where their career track is going and see if that's a path that you want to take, and that'll give you a deeper knowledge of what you should do once you get on campus. That's it for this video. I am done. I'm so tired. I have to write this paper. This is the reality, okay? You're writing papers and you're doing exams and you get super tired and you don't sleep at all, and it's great for your mental health. Also, get UPenn hired 2020. I'm so stressed. That's it for this video. If you have any questions or concerns, then feel free to leave a comment. I do read all the comments. And you can email me. I'll leave my personal email address below in the description box, so you can refer to that. And if there's nothing else, I will see you guys later. Bye! Mwah.